BBC, the big network that inspires Uganda. Welcome to Christian Focus, the show that discusses issues with a Christian perspective. My name is Prince Nick, and I'm humbled. Today, I'm hosting a wonderful minister of God. In fact, last Sunday, I happened to pray at a church in Entebbe, Ebenezer and Miracle Center. And this is where I found this minister of God. And, he was relating our native stories of our origin, Chintu, Nambi, Masaba, Gipil, Labong, to the story of creation and the relevance of Uganda in the prophecy of what God is going to do in the latter times. When I heard the message, I said, no. This is a message that should be shared by the nation. And I requested him to come on the national television and share with us the same. I'm humbled that this minister of God actually was positive, and I'm having him on the set. You are welcome, Pastor.
Thank you, Nick.
Praise the Lord.
Praise Him.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Yes.
I'm terrific.
Nice to meet you. Nice to be here.
This is Pastor Hadson Serunkuma, Assistant Pastor at Cornerstone Christian Fellowship in Muyenga.
Muyenga, Bukasa, yes.
How is Muyenga now service today?
Muyenga is good, and people really are developmental in the area.
Yeah.
Every day you find something new.
Happening.
Amen.
Glory to God. Like I just said, I was touched by your sermon, your teaching last Sunday at Ebenezer.
Yes.
You made me recall the stories of Nambi,
which you studied in primary.
In primary 3 something, Gipil, Labong, and there is a way you related those stories to the creation story.
Yes.
And to the contemporary Christian faith today.
Yes.
Tell me, what is there between Nambi and Chit for the benefit of our view?
Actually, Nambi story and Kintu story
and
Adam, actually those are the same stories. Only that they are different languages.
I love this. Nambi and Chintu.
Yes.
Adam and Eve.
Yes.
Are the same stories.
Yes.
Except told in different languages.
Different languages and different cultures, but the same story, because we are all from the original Adam and Eve. So when people started scattering on the earth, they came in different places, developed different languages, but they never lost their identity in terms of origin and the culture, right from
the
Genesis, creation. So people went on giving those ancient fathers of ours, Adam and Eve, different names, but like here in Uganda, originally people never used to write, never used to read, but they used to tell stories over the fireplaces, and they will teach the younger generation what happened in the past. Which culture we are losing nowadays because of the fast developing and the bombardment of foreign cultures coming in this new setting of globalization, where they want everybody to do what they have already pre-designed for the world.
Now, getting back to Nambi.
Yes.
Chintu, Adam and Eve. There is a way you brought it across that I appreciate so much.
Yes.
I never actually knew that after Sarah died,
yes,
Abraham had other kids.
Yes.
It had never crossed my mind.
Never read it in the Bible.
Sarah was so much pronounced that we forgot every other thing about what happened in the life of Adam and his other people around.
Yes.
So, but here you were telling us that after Sarah passed on,
yes,
there were some other kids to Abraham by another wife, is it? Keturah.
Yes.
And then, you get the story on, so that now you bring that to close to us.
Yes. Actually, when Adam, he left Mesopotamia, that is the present day Iraq and Iran, which made the ancient Babylonian land. God told him to move on after getting a dream, and to a place where God was going to show him, and which place became the present day Israel. So Sarah was barren for some time.
About over 80 years.
Over 80 years. And Sarah proposed to Abraham that you should marry one of these concubines. Where actually Adam went in for Hagar and he produced his firstborn Ishmael. But when God answered Sarah and gave her birth, he gave birth to Isaac. Then Sarah saw that Hagar was rebelling to her. So she proposed to Adam that Hagar should go away.
You have the first boy.
Yes. Yes, you know.
An issue.
You're growing,
yes,
something
exactly.
like that. So like there was some misunderstanding and then Hagar was chased away.
Yes.
Then time came when Sarah had died actually at her later age because she conceived when she was old enough. She passed on, Abraham married her. But then the Bible tells us after that Abraham got another wife into marriage called Keturah.
Yes, I love
which
that one.
the name Keturah actually in the Bible dictionary it's interpreted incense, that good odor, the good smell. But in that Bible dictionary they don't explain much about her because of I think her uniqueness in terms of culture and the way she looked. But they just say the name means incense. Then Keturah produced several sons.
For Abraham.
Yes, after Isaac and Ishmael. And when you read Genesis 12, you'll get from first verse, you'll get the story of so many sons, Meshach, Dedan, Midian, and Canaan, and the rest.
Yeah.
So among those sons,
You said Genesis chapter 12.
yes.
My
verse
viewer, please
1.
go and read because you need to connect this very interesting story here.
Yes.
Yes.
So Abraham, out of those sons, there was one son called Midian. And it's likely that it's from Midian we the Ugandans developed.
Okay.
Midian produced other sons, Shua, Pua, and the rest.
Yes.
And from those sons Midian produced, there was one son called Canok. And when you read in the Bible dictionary, Canok, it's interpreted as somebody who was born in the valley of hippopotamuses.
The valley of hippopotamuses.
Yes. So the ancient people used to name names according to circumstances that
To the
prevailed
environment,
or
the
to the environment.
nature in the place they're talking about.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or what transpired when the kid was
Okay.
coming into
Circumstances.
the world. Circumstances
Yes.
could predict the meaning of the name. So when you trace where hippopotamuses are found, they are only found in the Nile Basin in the whole world.
Hippopotamuses are found only in the Nile Basin.
Only in the Nile Basin, along where the river Nile flows.
That's another beautiful fact that people are getting.
So
hippopotamuses are found only in the Nile Basin.
exactly.
In the whole world.
Yes.
Wow.
That's why you can find those creatures called the hippopotamuses.
Mvubu.
Mvubu
Yes.
in Uganda, yes. So from Canok, people came from those young grandchildren of Abraham and they started spreading over Africa and some parts of the Middle East and, like on South Africa and the rest.
Exactly.
So from that lineage, we are believed to have come from Midian. When you trace the culture of the Midians, first of all, they were fighters, feared. When you read in the Bible, whenever the children of Israel would rebel to God, he would raise the Midians, and then the Midians would humble them.
Yeah.
So no wonder you see Uganda is a good fighting country.
Wow. That's
Talk
another
about
revelation.
warfare.
Yes.
UPDF will give you records.
I love that.
Wherever we are posted, we don't need so much of technology, but it's like we have that anointing.
We have that gene, that DNA,
That DNA
of fighters,
of fighters.
from our forefathers,
And
from Abraham.
from Abraham,
I love this.
look at, trace the history of our kingdoms when they were forming. It was fighting and gaining territory.
Yeah, of course.
So before the British or whatever colonialists came in, we were already colonizing ourselves and capturing territories after territories. So basically, that's one culture we have, fighters. Another culture, we are traders.
Yes.
That's why you see when the missionaries came, or the explorers came to Africa, before even they introduced money, we were already doing business with the Arabs.
I remember that.
And we had money
Yeah.
in form of cowrie shells. So they wondered, black people inside the continent of Africa, not connected to the outside world, so civilized as they found us, because they found we had discovered the fire.
Yeah.
We were forging things out, crafting, like blacksmith.
Yeah, the spears.
We were making spears, knives,
exactly.
cups, stuff like that.
The backcloth.
The backcloth we were putting on.
Yes.
We were doing pottery. We had some level of technology, which actually they antagonized and messed up. Otherwise, if we had proceeded with that technology to the newer generation, young generation, today that backcloth would have improved it.
I believe so.
With more research in your lab.
In fact, there's something that comes to my mind. There is a story that you told about someone called Chiwuka. That we had an
Air Force. Actually, we had. That is it.
I love this.
And he belongs to my clan.
Hey, Chiwuka belongs to your clan. So you are fighters in the air.
Naturally, we are.
Then we had Marine also.
We had the Marines, we had the infantry, we had the Air Force.
Okay. So now the Muslim comes and is...
He saw such a race of people, black, inside Africa, not connected to the outside world, but civilized, and advancing progressively. So he said, what should we do to these people? First of all, they wanted to study some basics that make us what we are. And in the studying of these basics, that's when the story of Genesis comes in.
No, I love that bit. I love that bit. Yes. So
and
now
actually,
they find people who have a likeness of where they're coming from.
Exactly.
And then they're wondering, how does this come about?
How does it come about? And yet they are not connected directly
because
to the outside world.
they are landlocked, you know?
Yes, we are.
And it could have been around the seas probably.
Exactly, like where sailors frequently will come to and
deep
fro.
inside, and in the forests of Africa.
In the forests of Africa, but one secret that led them to that place in Africa was the desire to discover the source of River Nile.
Okay.
So it is the River Nile that was an eye-opener to the explorers, because they could see it pushing
waters to
fresh
to
waters
to the sea up there,
to the salty seas of the Mediterranean. They could read about it in Egypt history. They would read about the River Nile in the Bible. So they said, where does this river come from? Which brings fresh water year after year, and it does not run dry.
even in dry season.
And yet it comes from the desert. So there are many things, if I could interpret that spiritually, many times we think that they are impossible because of the desert
That is
view.
ahead of them.
Yes. And yet, God, behind what seems to be a desert, that's where the virgin land is.
That's where the pearl.
That's where the pearl lies.
I love
So
it.
these people who had faith, they said,
There must be something unique
there
about this river.
must be
Where it comes from.
Where it comes from.
Yes.
How does it that it has pure, fresh water? A river that not only brought fresh water, but performed miracles. It saved Moses' life. Jesus took of the same waters when he was running away from Herod. When Herod, you know, was killing all people who were in the age limits of Jesus. You know, basically, the River Nile introduced them to where we are, Africa, to Uganda. But formerly Uganda was not there. They didn't know Uganda because they are the ones who forged the people. But there were people around that area.
So now, they come, they are doing their research to find about how the likeness they discover in Africa came about.
Yes.
Now tell me about those stories.
How
Adam, Eve, and Nambi Chintul, Dipila, Bong, Masaba, Weber.
Yes.
Those stories.
Yes, okay, what actually happened?
Yes.
When these people came around and found us civilized, you remember some explorers came several times. Like Spee came the first time, then the second time. The Stanley, David Livingstone, the Bartons. So these people, as they came to and fro, whenever they would go back to Britain, they would share their stories and give the report. We have discovered somewhere like where it seems the river comes from, there is a big lake, another big mass of water, but it's surrounded by so many types of people, different languages, but they have similar cultures somehow. And the common thing some of these people have told us, it's a story likened to the story of Genesis in the Bible.
I love this. People with similar cultures,
Yes.
but each of them,
Different
in their
languages.
uniqueness and of language and culture, have a story
A story.
that is so close to our story of Adam and Eve.
Exactly.
I love this.
So these people go back and they come back with the Bible. That's why the missionaries now come back with the Bible, and by the time they came around, I think in Uganda they had Mutesa the First,
Mutesa the First.
who was called Mukabi also. So they found him a king, but also a genius, because he used to speak several languages, by the way, besides Uganda. I think he was speaking Arabic and Swahili, something like that I had from the history books. So he was surrounded by wise men.
Someone told me that if it wasn't for the king, probably even religion could have had hard times coming into here.
Exactly.
But because he knew the language, he was now the person preaching to his subject. So now they were grabbing everything from their king.
Yes. Actually, before he had a parliament.
Yes.
He had a parliament of wise men. And from this parliament, that's why he chose actually the first prominent people he gave to the missionaries
To teach.
to go and learn the writing and writing. That is Sir Apollo Kagwa, Stainless Temugwanya, and Chitaka Chisinjiri. So basically, these three wise people went and learned. They went barefooted. They came back putting on shoes. You remember that song we used to sing? Apollo, Apollo, chive bulaya, bweya kwa nabambuti, nabasomesa enjiri, ya Kristo, na serengete rudi. We used to sing those. Then another song we used to sing, chive bulaya, bulyavaya kona ngato, izungu kona. So, like these people came back on with shoes.
Yes.
So they started teaching people how to read and write.
Yes.
But basically what inspired the king to send them was not basically to read and write, but it was that similar story.
The connection of Eve, Adam,
Yes.
Chintu.
Because the king told the missionaries that, you see, the God you're speaking about in that book is the same God we have. But what we don't have literature about him, and we don't know how to read and write.
Wow. Now you're opening my eyes to this, because what I've always known is that it sent Stanley
Yes.
to the queen
Yes.
and asked her to send missionaries to come and teach
Yes.
his people how to read and write.
And
now,
write.
because now he thought that for the religion bit of it, they were okay.
They were
because,
okay.
The story was connecting.
It was the same story.
Okay.
Same God, same everything.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you how the story relates.
Yes, I love that. I love this. Yes.
But what I want to tell you also about those three guys, that despite
the ones who went to
yes,
learn
the
this
three
and
wise, they went to Europe to learn how to read and write and come back and teach our people. So it was fine, it was good, but unfortunately, their school fees, paying their school fees,
No, who was paying for them?
we are still paying up to today.
For those three guys?
Yes. We are still paying their school
How
fees.
are we paying? Now this is an eye-open that I also need from you.
You need to know how we are still paying their school
us being
fees.
colonized and influencing our cultures.
Colonizing, taking every resource from Uganda, our copper in Kirembe, everything, sugarcane, tea leaves, paying the school fees, and you can't do anything now.
But it is because we have denied ourselves the opportunity to take charge of that. Because, you know, we sign these treaties that give away these things and stuff like that. I don't think that we are paying school fees. We intentionally donating to these guys.
No, we are paying school fees. Do you know that using English, we pay for it?
Okay, in that angle.
Yes, we pay for it.
So we should stop using English and use our native language.
That's it. Look at all countries that have retained their indigenous languages. Chinese, Japanese, Indians, Arabs, Rwandese. In Rwanda, Rwandese is the first language.
No,
When the president speaks, an indigenous Rwandese doesn't need an interpreter.
I love this. In fact, I believe this is how, despite the fact that we also didn't read, but passed on through oral tradition.
Exactly.
But this is why people are not so anxious to discover a few things, because they're in a language that disturbs them to understand.
That is it. And we are taking a longer route in communicating to our people.
Exactly.
And so is development, and so is progress. So some other things actually are stagnating, other things are dying out.
Just because of the language barrier.
The barrier.
Someone has to understand something. Like now, recently, I was looking at social media.
Yes.
Our newly elected MP.
Yes.
When I was asked what he observed on his day, on his first day on Parliament,
yes,
he said the things are complicated a little and stuff like that. But people on social media are saying that because he doesn't know English, he had to speak English. You know, so it was just funny stuff. But this is a very paramount point that we're putting across.
Yes.
The language is causing us to pay.
Yes.
To the British by donating a lot of our resource, because there are a few things in there that we don't understand. Probably even in the memorandums of understanding that we sign with these people, there are clauses that we may miss out.
Let me bring to you something which is of your times.
Yes.
Which may be really an eye-opener to you. Do you know that we don't have a constitution in our indigenous languages? A country of 40 million people almost. The constitution we have
is in English.
As our constitution. To me, I don't say it's our constitution because it's not in our language. Because it does not communicate to us. How can you possess something which does not communicate anything to you?
This is serious.
You can't.
I'm going to request my producer to have you another time to actually expound on this. Very important. Because I think there are a few things that we need to learn, especially in this moment when we are going to do our constitutional review, because I hear the ministers working about that. Probably there are a few areas like that one that need to be taken into consideration seriously. Yes. However, let's get back to the stories that connect us to the Western world when they come in.
Yeah, the European world.
Yes, yeah.
So the story, back to the story of Adam and Eve.
Yes.
These people come back with the Bible. They sit with the king invites his wise people around, they start discussing, debating over the issues, narrating story, relating. So the missionaries would read something, they would interpret it, then the wise people would say, but the way you've told your story, it is the same way we tell the story. Yes. Only that you're using a different language and different names. But when you follow the pattern of what you are explaining in terms of what transpired, what happened after what, and why,
it's exactly,
it is the same thing.
Yes.
So these people start telling the story of Adam. Actually, in the Bible, most people call Adam's wife Eve. But when God created both of them, he did not name them different names. He gave them one name. They were both Adam. It is Adam who called the wife Eve after they fell out of God's glory. But originally, when you read Genesis chapter 5 from verse 1 up to 2, it says God both gave them one name. So they read the story, how Adam was first created, placed in the garden, and then God brought animals made out of dust and birds to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever he called, so was it.
Exactly.
Then God looked and observed how Adam was executing his assignment in the garden. And then he said, oh, it's not good for him also to stay alone. So he thought to make him a mate or a helper. So he makes him
the wife.
The wife. So basically, when they read that story, then these people said, I think that's what happened. Because we see our grand ancestor Chintu coming in this land. But when he came in this land, which you see as a fertile land, which later on they named the Pearl of Africa, because Uganda was really rich, and it is still rich. But only that the richness and the wealth of Uganda is being hidden, but it's there. It's hidden from the people, but it is there. And much of it is intact. Why? I think it's because God's grace of the times He appointed for us
to discover such stuff.
to discover things that we may exploit them to benefit us in the right time of our calling, which is today.
Amen.
So
we are living in the right time.
Yes, that's why even this story is coming up. We are getting back to the roots. We are getting reconnected to the right foundations. We are actually supposed to be repositioned in our true inheritance according to God's design. Because God says to everything He created it for a purpose. And to everything He created under heaven, it was assigned a season and a time. That is Ecclesiastes 3. There is a time and a season for everything.
Yes.
So now our season has come.
Amen.
And the time is for us to remove the masks, remove the blinders from our eyes and see what actually pertains to us. And not just speak it, we have to claim it by force. Adam and Eve, they are in the garden. Time comes when Eve leaves Adam and goes alone in the garden, wandering around in the garden, and that's when she was confronted by a strange creature speaking to her about what to eat and what not to eat. And because Eve was not there in the beginning, when God was instructing Adam, she didn't really have that clear confidence that what she was speaking was actually something which was undebatable. So the accident she did, she started debating with the devil until the devil out-reasoned her. But if it was Adam, he would not have given him a chance.
Yes, it's like, go. I don't even have time to listen to that nonsense.
Exactly. And you know that's what's happening today? They are removing away all the men from women according to the global system. And they are setting women and children apart. And they are injecting stuff in the women and children. Yeah.
So today we have stopped at describing how we relate Adam, Eve, Kintunambi, Gipula, Bong, and all these other people to mean one. Yes. That's where we shall pull it off when we come next time. Pastor,
yes,
this is a very interesting topic that you have opened.
Yeah.
And like I said, my producer has nodded yes. So we are going to come back next Sunday to continue with this.
From this.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
Thank you, Nicky.
I'm looking forward to next Sunday.
Thank you for giving this privilege and opportunity.
Glory to God. Greet the people in Mienga.
Amen.
Wow. Oh, my. What an eye-opener to the greatness that God meant for Uganda, and particularly you as an individual, only if we understand how it should work. I look forward to next Sunday when we shall host Pastor Hadson again to expound more about how we can reclaim or take position and actually execute God's will for our country. From myself and my entire production and the UBC management, we say, have a nice week. See you next Sunday. God bless you.